Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Lively first hour. Coming up in hour number 3, not this hour, but the third hour of the program. Speaker of the House Cameron Sexton will join us to talk about the legislative session that has begun in 2026 in the state of Tennessee. The General Assembly has gavelled in. We'll talk about priorities for the General Assembly coming up with Cameron in the 5 o'clock hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Until then, your telephone calls and obviously focusing in on the situation in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Clearly, the governor of that state, Tim Walz, does not care about his constituencies. If he did, he would want to work more with the governor would want to work more with the president of the United States to try to ensure that legal citizens are taken care of at the same time that illegal aliens that need to be deported out of Minneapolis and out of the United States of America are. Sadly, they don't seem to care that much about the rule of law. So there you go. We will address that. I would love to hear. There are several of you on the super text line that are saying, well, one in particular. Let me see if I can find it. Oh yeah, this one. This is good. This is good. Matt, ICE is the bad guys. They are the Gestapo, the modern day Gestapo of America. Donald Trump created this Gestapo, just like Hermann Goering created the Gestapo in Germany in the 1930s. Same difference, just different uniforms. Look out, Second Amendment to the people, Second Amendment to the people. I'm just reading it as it's written. I cleaned up some of the spelling errors. Okay, where to start here? Number one, ICE was not created by Donald Trump. Immigration and Customs Enforcement was created by law after the formation of the Department of Homeland Security, and that was the result of the aftermath of 9/11. Now, I'm happy to have an argument as to whether we need a Department of Homeland Security. I'm happy to have an argument as to whether we need the Immigration and Customs Enforcement federal agents moving through the United States, enforcing immigration law throughout our country. I'm happy to have that conversation. But let's not lie about what happened. Let's not lie about how it happened. It was the result of radical Islamic terrorism that led to 9/11, that eventually led the United States of America to recognize that we were not immune from some of the terrorist activity that we'd seen around the globe from radical Islamic terrorism. And we recognized that we needed to fortify the homeland. Once again, we can argue whether or not this has been done properly. We can argue whether or not it should have been done at all. But let us not argue about whether or not it was done constitutionally. Most certainly it was. It was passed by Congress, signed by a president, not Donald Trump, George W. Bush. Barack Obama seemed to like it just fine. Donald Trump utilized it just fine. Joe Biden, they may as well sat at home during Joe Biden's tenure because he opened up the doors and let anybody and everybody come in that wanted to come in. So let's not pretend that this is anything new. It's not. Insurrection Act, even older. So Donald Trump says, listen, if we can't get law and order on the streets of Minneapolis, we're going to do something to make sure that the citizens of Minneapolis are protected. And if the government there will not do something about it, we will. In the meantime, Tim Walz had a few things to say yesterday. By the way, yes, sadly, there was somebody shot. There was someone shot by the Department of Homeland Security and Immigration and Customs Enforcement because people apparently believed Tim Walz when he said they were the bad guys. The Department of Homeland Security said yesterday that an agent from the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement shot an illegal immigrant from Venezuela after being ambushed. The incident occurred, obviously, about a week after Renee Good was fatally shot for not following a directive there and attempting to run an ICE agent over. This prompted reaction from Democrat Governor Tim Walz and Democrat Mayor Jacob Frey of Minneapolis. On a post on X, DHS said the illegal immigrant who had been released into the United States by the Biden administration in 2022 tried to flee from agents. The law enforcement officer caught up to the subject on foot, attempted to apprehend him when the subject began to resist and violently assault the officer. While the subject and the law enforcement officer were in a struggle on the ground, two people came out of their nearby apartment and attacked the law enforcement officer with a snow shovel and a broom handle. As the officer was being ambushed and attacked by the two individuals, the original suspect got loose and began striking the officer with a shovel or a broomstick. Fearing for his life and safety as he was being ambushed by three individuals, the officer fired a defensive shot to defend his life. The initial suspect was hit in the leg. Assaults against ICE agents have increased 1,300%. Attacks against using motor vehicles increased 3,200%. Death threats against ICE agents are up 8,000%, according to January 8th release by the Department of Homeland Security. Why is that? Can someone explain to me why they think that Immigration and Customs Enforcement, they're the bad guys? Now, I understand the correlation that the left is attempting to make. Because sadly, we have been infiltrated by not thousands, and not tens of thousands, but millions of people that do not have a legal right to be in America. The Biden administration opened the doors, and then they looked at us and claimed that there was nothing that they could do about it. It was such a lie from the pit of hell. They opened the doors for 4 years and invited anyone and everyone that wanted to come. Do y'all remember the images from Del Rio, Texas? I do. Do you remember the images from Eagle Pass? Remember the tens of thousands of mostly young males that were there under the bridge at Eagle Pass and in Del Rio? Do you remember what the Biden administration did in response to all of those individuals being here? Because some media outlets were forced to cover it. Fox News was the first. There were other media outlets. I think CBS was one of them. Kudos to them for actually covering the news. And there was drone footage. And I remember it was specifically on Fox that they had a drone and they brought the drone up and they showed this drone footage. And there were thousands and thousands of people underneath the bridge at, I think it was at Eagle Pass, in Eagle Pass, Texas. It truly demonstrated the depth of the situation that we were dealing with, and it was only a small microcosm of the totality of what we were handling at that point and in the future. Joe Biden and his administration, they demanded that Immigration and Customs Enforcement stand down, that border security stand down. I'm not making this up. And we need to say it as loudly as we possibly can so those in the back of the room can hear it. We need to say it loudly enough where even those in Aniana can hear it. Joe Biden did not believe in border security. And what's going on right now in the United States of America is a part of the cleanup that needs to happen. No one wants to see grandma removed from her house. I mean, I hate it. But I understand that this has been going on in a different way for so long that you've got grandmas and grandpas and other people that have been here for a lengthy amount of time that have never gained legal status in the United States of America. And if I were to tell you that you were not at risk for deportation, I would be lying to you. And it's time that people stopped lying to you. And that's part of the problem. For far too long, these namby-pamby, mealy-mouthed, spineless, nutless politicians have been lying to you about immigration and what it means to come here legally versus illegally. You are never, no matter the length of time, immune from removal if you came here illegally. I am sensitive to it. I am one of your friends in this endeavor. I am sensitive to the idea that we are partially culpable because of not doing anything about this issue for the length of time that we've not done anything about this issue. So if you've got people that have been here 15 or 20 or 25 years and they've never gotten legal status, they've never bothered to do that, then anyone telling you that you're not at risk for removal, they're lying to you. You are. I'm sorry that you are, but you are. Because we have rules. And you broke them. And I'm sure you've got very good reasons why you did. But you did. If you will allow us, if the American people will simply allow the rule of law to be followed, we have to clean up the last 5 years right now. And I believe that the American people are good-hearted enough and are of good spirit enough that after we clean up the problems of the last 5 years, that we can move on to figure out a humane way to deal with the rest. That doesn't necessarily involve removing everybody from the United States of America. And I think that is a fair compromise. That if you came here from 2020 on, you're going to have to go back home. If you've been here for that length of time, there's really no question. If you came to this country illegally without the proper documentation or paperwork, I am sorry that you bought into the lie. I'm sorry that people that you trusted told you that if you got here that you would get to stay. But that's not true. And it's time that you heard the truth. And it's time that you made plans to get on home and to get in line. And if you truly want to become a part of the fabric of the United States of America, we're going to figure out an opportunity for you down the road. But that opportunity is not right now. Now, this is the Murphy plan, and y'all can call me. And look, I get a lot of people yelling at me because you think I'm too soft on this, but I'm recognizing the reality of the situation when I tell you that there have been people here since the 1990s and the early 2000s and the 2010s, and they bought the lie, and we haven't done anything about it for a length of time enough that we need to act like human beings and recognize that we need to figure out a different path for those people. If you've been here and you've not violated the law in any fashion and you came here illegally, we're not going to make you U.S. citizens. That is cut off for you, but we can get you to a legal status in this country. You have to pay a fine. You have to come forward. We have to get you out of the shadows and into the light. We have to demonstrate that you've not violated the laws of the United States of America in the past, that you are not taking from any entitlement program in the United States of America currently. And once we set up some sort of recompense for the violation of the law, we're going to allow you to stay here. Is that not a fair compromise? But here's what we have to have in concert with this. We have to be strong-armed in our approach against those that are lawbreakers, that do want to do harm to this country, that don't want to assimilate into our culture, that don't want to become a fabric of the United States of America. Secondarily, we need to take a strong approach with those people, and we do not need to apologize for the other approach either. That is the Murphy plan. But sadly, and I know some of you, and I can feel it on the super text line, on the phone lines right now. Some of you are going, Murphy, what are you kidding me? You got to be kidding me. They violate the law. They go back home. And I hear you. Y'all have to move a little on this subject too, because we're dealing with groups of people that vote that don't want anything to happen to these people. They want anybody that wants to come here to just be able to come and be a part of the American experience and suck from the American teat. And those are insane people. It is insane to suggest that we should not have border security and an appropriate immigration process. It is insane to suggest that we do not have political sovereignty in this country. If you do not have sovereign borders, you do not have a nation. Governor Tim Walz does not believe in sovereign borders. If he doesn't believe in the ability for the federal government to enforce immigration law. And he said he didn't. He said it last night. Now, This plan that I am presenting to you takes responsibility on the part of the United States of America for the fact that we haven't dealt with this until now. But now we have to deal with it. Otherwise, you will continue to see Americans suffer. You will continue to see Americans die at the hands of people who should not be here to begin with. And I, for one, am sick of it. And I'm sick of the idea that we have a large portion of the American population that thinks that just because they have feelings about all of this, that they get to determine what laws they follow and what laws they don't. You don't get to interrupt a legal law enforcement operation just because of your feels. That's Murphy's rant on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What do you say? 615-737-9986. I'm proud to note that during my rant, Jackson Williams has not taken off any further clothing. I do need to clarify that you did not get naked. There are some people that were suggesting that perhaps you got nude. No one ever said that you got nude. What we did say is that you did take off two separate shirts.
Yeah, I had two pullovers on, and I took them both off.
Because it is warm in there?
It is a little warm in here.
Okay. But you have no plans on taking off any further clothing?
For now.
Well, there were some people on the Super Text line that were suggesting that this might be a money-making operation for you.
Everything has its price.
That's what she said. Yikes. 24 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What do you guys think of my idea? 9971 says, soft and weak, Matt. Soft and weak. Deportations are the moderate solution. Well, 9971, what would be the what? They've had years to face the music. Now they got to go. No compromise. Well, you're not dealing in reality, 9971. So if you take a hardline approach such as that, which is probably, you probably have about, let's say, 25% of the population that agrees with you. If you have 25% of the population that agrees with you, 40% of the population at least, maybe even 45% of the population, they don't want to do anything about this. Sadly, mentally, 40% of the voting population have been compromised to the point that you want to talk about compromise? They don't think that there should be anything done regarding, they want to disband Immigration and Customs Enforcement. They want to disband enforcement of our immigration policy altogether. My position would be that you walk it back, you find those that have been here for a length of time, you force the removal of those who have not been here for any length of time, you put a moratorium on all immigration in the United States of America for at least 2 years, 24 months. No, I'm not talking about, I'm talking about everybody. We need to figure out who's here, who needs to go, and who needs to stay. So if your position is that I'm soft and weak, you're not going to get anything that you want. You've got to move too, just a little bit. And you know why? Because we didn't do this 10 years ago. We didn't do this 20 years ago. When we came to the realization that Ronald Reagan had been duped in 1986 with Simpson-Mazzoli, that they were never going to get the border security funding that the Democrats had promised Ronald Reagan, we should have done something about it then. When we recognized the rampant fraud and abuse that was going on with the I-9 system that was created by that Simpson-Mazzoli Act, we should have done something about it then. You know what we should be doing in the halls of Congress right now? We should be enforcing E-Verify for every business, and I'll ask Cameron Sexton about this. I think every business in the state of Tennessee should have to go through E-Verify. Everyone. Right now, there's a cap. I think it's a floor cap. It's like under 10, you don't have to do it, and so that's how they get around it. I'm not telling you that it's a perfect way to go. And I'm not telling you that it's the only solution. I'm not telling you that I'm absolutely right. I'm telling you that if your position is that every person that has come here, no matter the length of time that they've been here, has to be deported, then I'm telling you, you're not going to get what you want. We cannot get enough people elected that will go along with your plan. We can't. And so you can either sit over there and moan and bitch and complain about it, or you can do something realistic that will actually affect change. And I'm sorry that I cursed. I apologize. I didn't mean to. Shame on me.
You can say that.
I mean, I know I can say it. I shouldn't. I can, but I shouldn't. I shouldn't. And I'm sorry. So y'all don't yell at me. I apologize. Rod is next up. Hey, Rod.
Hey, how you doing today?
I'm great, Rod. I hope you are.
Hey, listen, let me say this first, okay? I'm glad that you and WTM and Westward One has got people like you voicing their opinion over this on the illegals, because I wore the uniform for 8 years. And in my opinion, what the illegals need to do, if they're going to come to this country, then they need to serve in the military for at least 10 years, nothing minimum. That if they want in this country, they need to fight for this country. All right. And I hate to say it like this, but I believe that you only need to give them one chance to go and join the military and put that uniform on. And for the ones that don't, then whenever ICE catches them, they need to take them right back down there to the Texas border, throw them on the other side and say, you got in here on your own, and we're putting you out on your own for you to go back to your home, because you're not our problem anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's my bitch. So I apologize for saying that too, but I mean, that's just the way I feel about it, because here in the next 12, 16, or 20 years, we're going to have another Joe Biden that's going to do exactly the same thing. And all these Democrats, all they want is a vote. And they're going to go right back to the same thing. We'll bring everybody in. Let's give them all types of money. And, hey, we'll get their vote. Eventually, one day, they're going to do it. They didn't do it this past time, but eventually, one day they will. And then that'll wipe the United States completely out.
Well, and you have a lot of folks that don't seem to, and thank you for the call, Rod. I appreciate the passion. You have a lot of folks that don't seem to have a love for what brought them to this country to begin with. They want to bring their own systems that they seem to be running from. I was talking about this earlier today on the podcast that, we talk all the time in Tennessee, you're allowed, if you live in California, I mean, we are the United States of America. So if you live in California or New York or Minnesota for that matter, any other state, you're allowed to come to the state of Tennessee. You're allowed to bring your family to the state of Tennessee. But we just beg you, don't bring the problems that cause you to want to leave. Why would you do that? Sadly, you have elected officials in parts of the country. Give me a little video and audio here, Jackson. You got elected officials in parts of the country like this schmucko that, I mean, they love to say things like this. They love to talk like this. I'm going to break this down because a lot of what he says is total garbage and BS. And some of what he says is just, it's emotional nonsense. Here's Tim Walz.
Minnesotans believe in the rule of law. And Minnesota.
You don't. If you did, you would recognize the legal authority of law enforcement operations from the Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
Minnesotans believe in the rule of law, and Minnesotans believe in the dignity of all people. We're a place where...
Do you believe in the dignity of child rapists? I mean, this seems like this is just one of these dumb statements that we believe in. That. Do you believe, people pedophiles, do you believe in their dignity?
There's room for everybody, no matter who you are or who you love or where you came from. A place where we feed our kids. We take care of our neighbors.
You feed your kids at those daycare centers where there are no kids. Where are the kids there, Tim?
And we look out for those in the shadows of life. We're an island of decency in a country being driven towards cruelty. We will remain an island of decency, of justice, of community, of peace. And tonight I come before you simply to ask, don't let anyone take that away from us. Thank you, protect each other, and may God bless the people of Minnesota.
I mean, this guy, this is after he told his constituents to go ahead and turn in Immigration and Customs Enforcement or film them or video them. What? That afterwards, after an Immigration and Customs Enforcement officer was attacked after he said what he said and had to shoot an illegal alien Venezuelan, he came out with the statement, I'm making a direct appeal to the president. Let's turn the temperature down. Well, you turned the temperature up. You're the one that caused some of this chaos by refusing to acknowledge the rule of law that you claim that Minnesotans believe in. Tim Walz is probably enjoying all of this because it deflects away from his potential culpability in the fraud that's been going on, the Somalian daycare fraud and other fraud that's been going on in his state for a long, long time. We're an island of peace unless and until federal agents come into our state. Then we claim that they're the Gestapo and they need to be stopped. Rod has a thought about the border. Thank you for calling, Rod. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Matt?
I'm great. Thank you.
Well, I'm from Brownsville, Texas. Okay. And came to Tennessee almost 5 years ago. And I need to recognize that, our country is so big, even Texas, if we just talk about Texas, is so big that we have very different perspectives about every single issue. And the border is wild. I was there when I had all these people waiting for that appointment with that app. What was the app in the phone, remember? So you had all these people waiting for the appointment, and you had thousands and thousands of people on the other side of the border in Mexico and in our neck of the woods in Brownsville, right? So, people need help. I recognize that. And also, by the other hand, we need to follow the law. One of the things I see at the border is that it's a different country. It's not like the United States, you and me and most of the people know, And most of the border, like me, we're half Mexicans, half Americans. I was born and raised in Brownsville, but my mama is from Mexico, and my dad was a Republican. And, with the Confederate flags and then with the Mexican food, it was very confusing at the beginning of that, right? But one thing I know is you need to follow the rules, and that's what makes us different from the rest of the world, particularly Mexico. I'm very, very, very aware of what's going on at the border. The border is Mexico. The cartel bosses, they live on the U.S. side of the border. Okay? Their children, they go to the schools where my daughters were going to school. Everybody knows that. And they know also all these different paths and all these different points and all these different neighborhoods. And why are we not applying then the law there, the rules there? I mean, I don't want to go in detail because the job I do, I know all this and more. But, we apply the law here, but at the border, not that much. And I wonder why, right? So that was my only comment. I love being in Tennessee. I don't miss the border, just very little. I have many good friends over there, but I think Tennessee is where I want to be.
Well, Rod, thank you for the call. Thank you for the perspective. God bless you and God bless America. I appreciate you, brother.
God bless you.
All right, take care, man. Thank you. If you, several of you are frustrated at me because you're like, we're nearing dinner time, and I'm playing Tampon Tim on audio and video. Let me help you out. I can do this. 1 minute and 30 seconds. Let's call it a palate cleanser. She looks better. She sounds better. She's sane. Her name is Karoline Leavitt. She is the press secretary for the executive branch of government, the president of the United States of America. Here's a minute and a half of Caroline Leavitt absolutely destroying a liberal reporter. Go.
Earlier, you were just defending ICE agents generally, and earlier on, Secretary Noem spoke to the media, and she said, among other things, that they are doing everything correctly. 32 people died in ICE custody last year. 170 U.S. citizens were detained by ICE, and Renee Good was shot in the head and killed by an ICE agent. How does that equate to them doing everything correctly?
Why was Renee Good unfortunately and tragically killed?
Are you asking me my opinion? Because an ICE agent acted recklessly and killed her unjustifiably.
Oh, okay. So you're a biased reporter with a left-wing opinion.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, because you're a left-wing hack. You're not a reporter. You're posing in this room as a journalist, and it's so clear by the premise of your question. And you and the people in the media who have such biases but fake like you're a journalist, you shouldn't even be sitting in that seat. But you're pretending like you're a journalist, but you're a left-wing activist. And the question that you just raised and your answer proves your bias. You should be reporting on the facts. You should be reporting on the cases. Do you have the numbers of how many American citizens were killed at the hands of illegal aliens who ICE is trying to remove from this country? I bet you don't. I bet you didn't even read up on those stories. I bet you never even read about Laken Riley or Jocelyn Nungray or all of the innocent Americans who were killed at the hands of illegal aliens in this country. And the brave men and women of ICE are doing everything in their power to remove those heinous individuals and make our communities safer. And shame on people like you in the media who have a crooked view and have a biased view and pretend like you're a real honest journalist.
Thank goodness for Caroline Leavitt. Way to go. Right on.
I mean, he admitted it.
Oh, well,
right there.
Unjustifiably, he shot recklessly. Like, what are you talking about, dude? And oh, by the way, he had these statistics. He wants to point out when ICE falls short. You know what he tries to do, Ken? He tries to make the perfect the enemy of the good, right? When you have an operation where you have 30,000 agents and they are in dangerous situations consistently as a part of their job, sometimes mistakes will be made. There might be a brief detention of a United States citizen. When you find out that person is a United States citizen, they release him out of custody. Well, he wants to focus on all of that. He didn't want to focus on the people that are killed at the hands of illegal aliens. I bet he doesn't have those figures at his fingertips. Of course not.
I wonder if he identified who he is with.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm going to try to do like an image search or something. If anybody knows, if anybody's seen this clip or if you've just watched this clip and you know who this schmucko is, let us know, because this guy, good for Caroline Leavitt.
I mean, he is going into this thing with a preconceived notion.
Right.
With his own opinion. You cannot do that as a objective journalist. You cannot do that.
I mean, we love to joke around when Ken Weaver says, "I just do the news, boys." But y'all know what that is, right? That's Ken saying, well, we're entering an arena where I just want to deliver the news. I just want to deliver the facts, and I'll let Matt Murphy deliver the opinions. That's what journalism is all about. And Ken Weaver understands. Ken Weaver has his own opinions about all this stuff, but he doesn't. He makes, and I don't want to speak for you, Ken, but I think I'm safe to say this, that Ken recognizes what his job is versus what his opinions are, and he understands the difference.
I work very hard at it.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, and that's what it's all about. That's why people trust you, Ken. That's why people love getting the news from Ken and Joan and the rest of the good people that do the news over at Super Talk in the newsroom. And look, I'm an opinion guy. I'm going to deliver facts to you, and if you ever feel like I'm wrong on the facts, you call me out. All you have to do is call me up and call me out. But I'm an opinion guy. That's what I do for a living. This guy claims to be a journalist, and he's not. He comes at it. He had decided that the ICE agent was in the wrong. And he decided it on the front end, and everything about his questioning was couched in those terms. We've got movement on immigration in this state, and Cameron Sexton is making that move. And Cameron Sexton will be with us coming up in just a moment as Speaker of the House to talk about not just the 2026 General Assembly, the new legislative session, but also some of the things we're doing on the immigration front. That is up next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.